tomorrow at Wildwood Community Center, there's going to be a town hall on Social Security and a rally. So you might want to go to that one.
What time is this?
1 o'clock?
1 o'clock, thank you, Sue.
Yeah, and then, and that's at Wildwood Community Center on,
Farrow.
on 4/14, on April 14th. There's a citizens town hall where Daniel Webster was invited. We don't expect him to show up. Apopka, it's in Apopka. So, but Barbie will be there, and she's obviously running against him. And then on April 12th, there's a empowering voters election. So reform. It's a town hall and a rally. So that's April 12th, 1 o'clock at Seabreeze. I left all the brochures over there, but you need to take a picture of them because I didn't make enough copies. So we're gonna start with Barb. Well, first we gotta, where's Deb? Deb. Oh, there you are, Deb. Here, why don't you come up? We have an announcement. Deb, in case you don't know, Deb is our legislative liaison.
Good morning, I'm Barbie Harden Hall. I signed up to be the legislative liaison for the Democratic Women's Club of the Villages. I'm new at this, so I don't really quite know exactly what I'm supposed to do, except I'm following certain meetings with the state the state clubs, actually, what are they? We have 67 counties, so Democratic Clubs of Florida, I guess.
It's a statewide club.
Yeah, statewide. And one of the things that I'm supposed to do is I'm supposed to be a communicator to you. So I wanted to tell you about this blue alert, and I'll tell you what that is in just a second. I'm sorry I didn't think to bring a connection so that I could put it up here, but I did put a little information on the board over there. A blue alert means that we need you, the members of this club, to call and email your reps, senators, and various committees, because we have something that's sitting in committee right now.
I just got out of committee.
Okay, it's called HB 1205, and it is a barrier to citizen-led initiatives. What it does is it allows only one amendment per voting cycle. Yeah, we had 5 questions on the ballot last time. This time there's only 1 being allowed. It mandates financial reporting. It requires petition circulator training. It changes penalties for violations. I don't have the details. It outlines procedures for verifying and revoking petition signatures. It allows the governor to insert partisan language on voter ballots to confuse voters and undermine citizen-led amendments. It discourages grassroots initiatives, like if we wanted to put, like the abortion bill that was on to change the 6 weeks to a little longer, that's one of them. It is a clear attempt to silence the voice of the people. It would require a petition sponsor to post $1 million bond, so it favors big business and other wealthy sponsors. And it increases fines for minor administrative violations. So it just got out of the Government Operations Subcommittee. So, yeah. I'm sorry. It was passed by the Government Operations Subcommittee on March 6th. And I guess it was in the hands of the House State Affairs Committee up until, when, yesterday?
Yes.
Yesterday? So I'm asking that you contact your House, well, I guess not the House State Affairs Committee anymore, your representatives and senators to say that you do not support HB 1205. I live in St. Catherine, and so our representative is John Paul Temple. I don't know if you know who yours is, but you can go to myfloridahouse.gov, or you can call this telephone number. I put them on the whiteboard over there, 850-717-4890. So you can email or phone call them and tell them that you do not support HB 1205. Please, we have to do this because we can't let them gag us. And it's not just gagging just Democrats, it's gagging everyone. And don't forget, all your emails and all your phone calls are registered and counted. So please do it. Thank you.
So the person that's running against Webster is here. What she needs is for you to sign a petition so she can get on the ballot. So I think you left petitions over there, right? So make sure that you get one and sign it. Okay? And I'll turn it over to Barbie. Barbie Harden Hall.
I'm tall, so thank you, Sue. Thank you all for having me again. I was actually here talking exactly a year ago at your March meeting last year. And what a year it has been for all of us. I think we all can agree that we did not see the results that we wanted in November across the board, and not just in my race. But we did have some positives that happened. We had my race here in Florida 11 had the largest Democratic swing in the state of Florida. So even though we didn't get the outcome that we wanted, there were some positive movement. We had a 7-point swing, which in Florida in 2024 was something to be proud of, but we definitely have a long way to go. But the benefit is that we are starting early. We are continuing to hold Webster's feet to the fire, because I think that he thought that he would slink back into his hole and disappear for another year until he decided what he was going to do. The day that they were sworn into office and the 119th Congress began, so day one, he missed 2 out of the 5 votes. So on day one, he had an absentee rate of 40%. So to me, if you can't even show up for the entire day of your first day of service, then maybe it's time that we move on. And we're not sure if he's going to run again. But I think that by continuing to hold the pressure on him, on his actions, these town halls that we have the one out here in Wildwood tomorrow. We just scheduled the town hall in Orange County, in Apopka. We're gonna have some elected officials at that one as well. There's also one in Lake County, in Claremont, that is being put on, and I'm trying to get the information for that because I didn't have anything to do with that one. But I know in the last few weeks, you all out here in the villages have done what you've always done so well, which is make your calls, send your emails, your letters to the editor, to the point that Daniel Webster's office removed all of their telephone numbers from his website. Because he didn't want people calling him anymore. And it was only after I posted something about it on social media that they went back on. We have people that are complaining and starting to realize that on his social medias, he is hiding and deleting comments from people, and only keeping ones that are very favorable towards himself, which is not legal. So we do have a journalist who is willing to hear from constituents that have experienced that. So I can forward that information to anybody. But again, I think right now, the next few months, it's really going to be putting the pressure on not only Daniel Webster, but on all of these other legislators that we're not standing by and allowing everything to happen quietly or easily, that we're going to be here to really make sure that we're defending our country, our Constitution, and all of these things that are put there for a reason, that we're now seeing the Trump administration, aided by the Republicans in Congress, happily just rip apart. I was in DC a few weeks ago for Rare Diseases Week on Capitol Hill, where I go and I advocate for rare disease families and patients like my son, who I lost a few years ago. And I've been the last 3 years, but to see the feeling and the energy in Washington, D.C. when you're riding the metro and you have all of these people going to work, and it is just not a good energy. These people are worried about their jobs, they're worried about their families, and it's heartbreaking to see. And walking the halls of these offices in Capitol Hill and seeing the Republicans very empowered, but not empowered for good.
Yeah.
Not empowered for good. And going with these families that we are all from different backgrounds, different political affiliations, but to see all of these families that are just trying to make sure they and their children have adequate health care. We rely on, in rare disease community, research from the NIH. We rely on the FDA to approve treatments, life-saving treatments. When my son was sick and we were trying to keep him alive, I was participating in medical research and T-cell donations to try and save his life. And all of a sudden, these programs are being told, you're no longer funded. And children who are in these clinical trials and getting treatment that is helping them are all of a sudden not sure if it's going to continue because of what's going on right now in the Trump administration and DOJ and everything. So to be in a room with hundreds of family members and patients and to see that as well, and to me, who I knew it was coming, and we talked about it coming, and to see that it still was not enough makes the fight the next 2 years even more important. And I have had hard conversations with other parents who were Trump supporters and are now saying, oh, well, this research and this, and I just want to, I don't know why you would vote for a man who, or we had the Project 2025 agenda and you said it wasn't real, that they're not going to cut the NIH, they're not going to cut the FDA. And I told them a vote for Trump is a vote to cut the funding of your child's research and medications and all of these things that you depend on to keep them alive. And now it's, oh, well, I think it's great what they're doing, this waste and everything. We just got caught in the crossfire. And it's the excuses and the... So we've really got to cut through that. So please continue to do what you're doing, but really push the truth out there that this, we knew this all along. It was all there. We told them about it, they said it was fake, they said he had nothing to do with it, and now that it's happening, there's some other excuse they're coming up with. So we really have got to hold their feet to the fire, and I'm so ready, and have been continuing to do this, is to hold Daniel Webster's feet to the fire, to hold these other Republican men in Florida who have, I still am baffled by the fact that, you know, the chairman of the Florida Republican Party told me that I'm looking forward for you to lose so that you can get back to the kitchen. Said that to me. And their executive director of the state party, saying something about maybe we should take all the sharp objects out of your house so you don't kill yourself after you lose. These are the executive director and the chairman of the party. And your state senator here, Blaise Ngoglia, trying to get people to make wagers with him on how many points I would lose by before the election happened. So these men that are supposed to be, the non-emotional, reasonable ones, that for some reason they're so scared of a woman that is willing to fight against what they're telling us has to be the status quo, that they're lashing out. And it's even starting now, because even before I had announced it, I still haven't officially announced anything. I refiled to run for the seats very soon after the election ended. And it was the chairman of the Republican Party, Evan Power, who announced it for me. How he found out about it, I don't know. But posting something like, I've got something really funny to tell you guys. Barbie is running again. So they're already starting up. I see it all the time. But we, not only as Democrats, but we as people who love our country and want to protect it, us as women, really have to make sure that over the next 2 years we do what we can to change the majority in Congress, because I don't want to be, too crazy, but to me it really feels like it's the last stand, and it's our last opportunity. So I am thankful and grateful for you all for being with me the last year, and then hopefully continuing to be with me the next 2 years. And again, thank you so much, but I'll see you guys around.
Is that Joe Poland?
Sorry about that. I think it's Blaise is the one that I think he introduced a bill, you'll have to check Deb.
Yeah.
Introduced a bill that, to allow only men to vote. I don't think it's gonna go very far, but still.
Don't forget the assertions.
It's unbelievable. And all those people, the Medicaid, the budget that just passed, which is gonna result in a lot of people being kicked out of their nursing homes, because about 70% of the people in nursing homes today use Medicaid. So it's a big deal for seniors, not to mention everybody else. Anyway, so we have our keynote speakers are Joy Farrow and Laura Frombach, and they've something got covered up. Sorry. So Joy is a retired deputy sheriff. With 28 years of experience, she worked patrol in Pompano Beach, Florida, and forced every situation imaginable, and faced every situation imaginable. And Laura was introduced to technology in the U.S. Army, working on Pershing nuclear missiles. I think we need her again because I think they fired all the managers of the. Now they're trying to hire them back. Good luck. And anyway, a turning point in her life was when her mother's mental illness turned into domestic violence. So with that, I'll introduce you. They've written a book. Hopefully you'll buy it. I think they're going to have copies at lunch, if you're going to lunch. If you don't, I sent a link out to everybody and how to buy the book.
Great, thank you so much. And we are thrilled to be here, particularly with you. My name is Laura, and Joy is hiding, which is not like her. We are the founders of Street Smart Safety for Women. And we wrote the book, Street Smart Safety for Women, Your Guide to Defensive Living, because we could not find that book. We could not find a book by women, for women, that talked about women's safety from a women's perspective. So we wrote the book and we founded this organization, and we want women to be empowered because we believe that safety is not about fear, it is about empowerment. And we purposely have that message. If you look at men's websites who talk about women's safety, they're black, they're dark. They want to scare us. You know what? We don't need to be frightened anymore. We want to be empowered, so that's what we're going to talk about today. How can you keep yourself safe? We believe it starts with what we call your safety intuition. And it's also known as situational awareness. And we call it safety intuition because it is intuitive, because it comes from our subconscious. And we're going to talk about that today. Your situational awareness, your safety intuition, is nothing more than your 5 senses reporting information about your environment back to your subconscious. Did you know that your subconscious takes in 11 million bits of information per second? But your conscious mind only retains 40 of that. 40 bits versus 11 million. Think about that. What that means is that your body and your subconscious recognizes danger long before your conscious mind does. So let's look at it this way. This iceberg represents your subconscious, and it takes in all the information from your 5 senses, your sight, your sound, everything, and it reports it back to your subconscious. But do you see that little red dot up at the top? That's your conscious mind. That is your awareness. So think of it this way. You're sitting at home watching television, minding your own business. The windows are open, your neighbors are driving by, they're chatting, the birds are tweeting, and you're not really paying attention, but your subconscious mind is. Then you hear a baby cry. Wait, what's that? Because it sinks through, it gets through to your conscious mind. And then you become aware, oh, but you're not paying attention to all of those other background sounds, all those other background sights that your body and your subconscious are registering. Joy and I were on the train in Boston. We're sitting side by side, and this big guy comes in the door. Now, something about him was off. He didn't say anything, he didn't do anything, but I thought, uh-oh, here's trouble. But he was looking right at us, so I couldn't nudge Joy or look at her and say, uh-oh, what do you want to do about this? So I just kept staring straight ahead until he sat down directly in front of us. Joy and I got up in unison and walked out the door. Now, as we passed him, we could hear him start to mutter. as though he were having perhaps a mental health episode. But I knew, without putting my finger on it, I knew here's something to be aware of. And I want to ask you, how many times in your life have you been aware of danger? Have you been aware that something was off, but you just dismissed it? And so that's why we want to encourage you that as soon as that something sinks into your awareness, or you even get a feeling, like in the back of your neck or the pit of your stomach that says something's off about this situation, that you pay attention to it right away. Because we as women are taught to dismiss our own instincts. We are socialized to be polite. We are socialized to attend to others before we attend to ourselves, even our own instincts. Now, we're not advocating for impoliteness. We're not advocating that everybody walk around being rude. Nobody wants to live in a society like that, although it's rapidly going in that direction. But what we are advocating for is that if you do become aware of a situation, or somebody walks up to you and wants you to do something for them, ask yourself, why, got a little problem here, why does that person want me to do something? Because predators are aware of this tendency of women to be polite, and they take advantage of it. So if women are taught to reduce our situational awareness, if women are taught to pay attention to others before we pay attention to ourselves, and that situational awareness is reduced from 40 to 20 to 12 or whatever because we're so busy attending to others and wondering what they're thinking about us, how can we increase that? How can we increase our situational awareness? Well, we are big fans of Amy Herman and her work. Amy is an attorney, an art historian, and she wrote the book Visual Intelligence. And Amy teaches professionals, professional law enforcement, how to increase their observational skills, how to pay attention to their safety intuition. And she teaches large law enforcement organizations like the military, like the police, and even the FBI to use art to increase their observational skills. And the fact that all of these law enforcement agencies are paying for Amy to come and teach them is a testament to the fact that her work is valuable and it is true. Let's talk through an Amy Herman exercise. Meet Mrs. Winthrop. Mrs. Winthrop was painted by John Copley in 1778. You can visit Mrs. Winthrop today, if you want to, at the Modern Museum of Art in New York. And Amy Herman says that Mrs. Winthrop is the ideal way to study observation and to increase our observational skills. So just take a look at Mrs. Winthrop for a second and see what you can determine about this scene, the who, where, when, etc., that you can see reflected in Mrs. Winthrop. Well, when I looked at Mrs. Winthrop, I saw that she had on a blue dress, a bonnet, she had lace on her cuffs and neck, and she's sitting in a red chair. Amy Herman said, Mrs. Winthrop is not the object of Mrs. Winthrop's painting. The true nature of Mrs. Winthrop's painting is shown in the reflection of the mahogany table. So you can see how skilled the artist was. He painted Mrs. Winthrop's reflection in the mahogany table. So you can see her arms, the little fruit she's holding, her sleeves, etc., etc. But if you look closely, one thing that is not noted in Mrs. Winthrop's reflection is Mrs. Winthrop's wedding ring. So why did the artist paint Mrs. Winthrop's reflection without her ring? Well, could he have wished Mrs. Winthrop wasn't married? Could he have had a situation with Mr. Winthrop? Well, we'll never know. But the point is that it's these observational skills that are so important for women to increase our situational awareness. And if we can do it with art, we can do it in our everyday lives. When you're going through the Publix parking lot, when you walk out in the morning, just scan your environment and see what's going on. But let's hear from a pro who has done that every day for 28 years. Joy.
There you go. A woman taking care of.
Just don't go behind it.
So, in order to keep myself safe, every day at work and everybody else, I needed to, well, like you've heard your whole life, pay attention to your surroundings. What does that mean? What do you mean I'm paying attention? What am I supposed to pay attention to? So, when I was working, I needed to scan my surroundings. Not pay a lot of attention to it, but I needed to take a second to see what was happening, and this is how I incorporate it in your subconscious. Because if you're not paying attention and you're not bringing it in, so your observational surveillance is what you're doing, is you're bringing it in instead of just paying attention to this one thing, this one object. I'm just going to look at my phone, I'm just going to do this. Nothing's going to get into your subconscious, and you're going to miss things from the sides. So, you know, in order to get anything deep down inside, entering a room, the parking lot, all you need to do is just stop for a few seconds and just look around. And what we're going to have is we're going to start seeing things that don't belong. And they're going to register. Why is that person wearing this? Some people may say, so what? I don't care. Well, let it go into your subconscious and say, it doesn't mean you have to do something about it, but be aware that that person's coming in the store, that person's coming in the bank. That's odd. I'm not going to pay attention. I want to pay attention to that. That's important. Does he have a weapon? Could they be going in there to commit a crime? And don't be fooled that everybody, of course, doesn't look like this. But there are many that do, that go unnoticed right next to you. And these are things to pay attention to. Another is how close people are to you. You should be feeling this with your instincts. And a lot of my friends say, I'm not good at it. I don't have good instincts. Well, in order to get good instincts, scanning your environment, whether you're online at Walgreens because they're taking so long at the counter and you're waiting, okay, turn around and see, why is that guy standing so close to me? I turn around. I'm not pretending they're not there. I'm turning around, which is what more women need to do today, is take control and turn around. Let them know what's happening. You're a little close. Now, you don't have to say anything, but turning around and letting somebody know you know, pull your purse to the front. Okay? I can steal out of any bag in here in a second because I've seen people just don't pay attention. Everybody is not friendly. Let's keep that in mind. And one of the biggest problems is when people use their hands and they're so close, the number one problem is pickpockets. pickpockets are so good at it, you don't know. They're masters of deception with fast hands. Laura can tell you why.
Joy and I were in Barcelona and I had to take the train to work. And before I left the hotel, she said, "Watch out for pickpockets." And I thought that was pretty funny, and I laughed and I said, "Okay," and went on my way. When I got to the train station, I could not figure out the ticketing machine. We were in Barcelona, it was in Spanish, I had no idea what's going on. And so two women approached me and offered to help me. And I was so grateful. We were chatting, we were having a good time, and I looked down and one of them had her hand in my bag. I looked, and I did what women have done since the dawn of time when we do not know what else to do. I pretended like nothing was happening. I took my bag, I put it to my other hip, I zipped it, and we continued on with our conversation. Now, in my defense, there were two of them and one of me. They were much younger than me, and there was nobody else in the train station. What was I going to do, scream help? So the worst part was going back later and telling Joy that she was right. But the catch is, Joy said that if they had been any good, I never would have seen them.
It happens to all of us. Scams, shams, and cons. Have we not all been a part of that? And it happens in person, on the phone, and especially online. Now, what can we do about this? Well, we've heard for the longest time, trust but verify. We're flipping the script. We're saying verify, then trust. So you've probably all heard, or maybe some of you use, two-factor authentication online. So what that is, if you're not using it, is you're getting into an account and you're sent a code to your phone and you use that code to get into your account. And then you're in. That's an additional layer of security to prevent unauthorized people from trying to get in somehow. It's another layer that unless they have this code, they're not getting in. So, you know, we say in order to protect yourself, think about it as your front door. So, yeah, a lock is good. I have a good lock. But if you added that special deadbolt, you're getting an extra layer of protection and security, enough to feel better about myself. I feel better. Yes, it's a pain where everybody says, oh, now I have to get the thing. But there are people that take 2 seconds to get into your account only because they know that as we get older, we go, I don't want to bother with one more thing I gotta do. But it really does help that extra layer of protection.
The other thing about two-factor authentication in today's world is with the increased ability of artificial intelligence and increased processing power of computers, a lot faster hacks can be played millions of times per second against your account. So if you have an easily guessable password, well, that's one thing. But two-factor authentication really locks that door, as Joyce said. So how can you protect yourself today against scammers, whether it's online, on phone, at your front door, or whatever? We say two-factor authentication for your entire life. Verify, then trust. So let's look at a couple scenarios of where you can use two-factor authentication across your entire life to keep yourself safe. You've probably heard of the grandparent scam. And this has been going on against grandparents and retirees since forever. Somebody calls, they say, I have your grandson, Bobby. Bobby's been in an accident. Bobby needs money. Well, today, artificial intelligence makes that even more frightening because now Bobby's voice can be cloned and it sounds like Bobby saying, I've been in an accident, I need money. And here is a scam, a ring actually, that was just broken up last week out of Canada that stole $21 million from retirees. How can you protect yourself against this? How can you know whether this is really Bobby or not Bobby? We suggest you have a family code word. Discuss this with your family. Discuss it with your children, with your grandchildren, with your relatives. Something that is not easily guessable, like zebra.
Now, don't all use zebra.
And if Bobby calls, and Bobby's been in an accident and says, Grandma, I need money, zebra, you know Bobby's got a situation and you can safely send him money. If Bobby doesn't have the family code word, you know it's a scam. You can hang up, you can call your family member, and you can make sure that they're okay. This is a strategy that will help you prevent scammers across the board, really, from taking advantage of you and you wondering, is this real? Especially in today's world, is this real or is this not real? Here's another situation I've seen in the villages a number of times. Somebody dressing up like a utility worker or a FedEx person or whatever and showing up at the door, knock, knock, knock. And I've had friends that interrupted our visit and said, wait a second, the electric guy is at the door. How do you know? How do you know it's the electric guy? And then they just open the door. Well, this is another headline from the last week where somebody dressed up as a utility worker, knock, 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 the guy opened the door, 72-year-old guy opened the door, and he was killed. How can you prevent this? Verify, then trust. Let the person stand out there for a few minutes. If they are legit, you call the electric company, you call FedEx, you call whoever, and if they say, yes, we sent somebody to your door, then you can deal with the business. But we as women often don't want to inconvenience people. Oh, I don't want them to stand out in the hot sun. Oh, I better open the door and see what happens and see what they need. No. Think of yourself first. Think of your own safety first. And then finally, we know you know this, but this is a reminder, do not click on links in your email. It doesn't, or text, it doesn't matter how urgent they sound. You've heard of the traffic ticket, you know, online. Yeah, the toll scam. Go to the IRS.gov. If there's anybody left, go to the IRS.gov. Go to the bank. Go to whatever institution says that they're trying to get your attention. Go online and sign into your account.
So, stay safe. Think of it as locking your door, adding that extra deadbolt, so you can stay protected if you just keep that in mind through everything you do, because you just can't trust everybody as we see today. So one of the most important things you need to do is secure your home. Your home is the one safe place that you have. So there are, unfortunately, 3 ways that your home can be compromised. Your home security can be compromised. So one, like we've talked about, is opening your door to the unknown, inviting them in. And this goes for people that delivered something to your house yesterday and, oh, Why aren't they coming by today? Okay, just because they delivered it doesn't mean they get a second round to come in and check the appliance. We have a problem, I need this. No, you should be saying that's not right. Well, let me call Best Buy and see why. So these are things that happen. They happen every day. You'd say to yourself, no, I don't want to bother. That's not going to happen. But it does. So they're saying these things because these are kind ways of getting in. They're not using a weapon. They're using nice to get in. I'm sick. We've seen this in the villages. So the surrounding 3 counties, we've seen incidents of, excuse me, hello, I don't feel well. 911. Before you open the door, I don't care what they look like or what their age is. 911, there's somebody outside. I need a drink of water. Nobody needs to come into your house unless you know them, a friend. They're all niceties to get in there and then a problem to get them out. Number 2 is leaving anything unsecured. And I see this way too much, is leaving the front door open and leaving the garage door open, especially at night. There are so many transient people, and the area is expanding all over. So, you have to realize that it's all public. It's a nice area, but it's public. And anyone can drive anywhere to get here. So there are delivery people, all these people are transient people that come in and they see doors open. Oh, houses for sale, sign up, thing, all these things register to people that don't make too much money or have a criminal mindset. So things to keep in mind when you leave a door open. So do all you can to secure your perimeter doors, and you want to upgrade the locks also. But our third one is burglary. And we don't think that that's not going to happen to my house. Well, in nearly 30 years of working, burglary happens all the time. During the day, mostly, and at night. So surprise, yes, a lot of crime happens during the day because they can blend in more. So keep that in mind. So what you want to do is you want to upgrade some of your security. So, look at the locks you had, especially maybe you bought a house recently or, whenever, and you haven't changed any of the locks. You're like, I'll get around to it, but you haven't. So it's a good idea to change the locks. And another good one is to put in, if you want to add a little extra peace of mind security, a pick-proof door jamb. Now either a handyman could put it in, or it just takes 2 seconds to put it in the jamb. And we actually will show you in a little bit. We have a portable one for your traveling, and we'll show you that. And window security film makes your whole house more stronger to the element. It gives it a protective layer. So it's a little harder for someone to break a window. So these are just things to keep in mind when you're trying to, what should I do to upgrade my house without spending a lot? And to go the electronic route is the best. So we've used that ever since it came out. And what's great about this is you don't have to go to your front door. So you can monitor your house from all over the world off of your phone. So this is great. Somebody rings the doorbell and you're in Spain, answer the door. So nobody knows you're not home and you don't have to wonder about that package. You can call your neighbor and say, my package is outside, can you grab that for me? And it doesn't have to sit there. Or you can answer the doorbell when Amazon rings and say thank you, so they know not to steal it after they've left it. My favorite is carrying personal safety tools. How many people carry a personal safety device of any kind? Oh, we need to talk. Oh. Okay. So what I like to carry is, and carry all over, is pepper spray and pepper gel. You think you don't need it, but you do. And now they come in all different types of looks and styles, and they look like a lipstick and all different, they look like a pen also, so they blend in. The point of it is you don't need the drunk guy in the parking lot at Publix or the doctor's office to be walking their way over to you and getting too close to you. Now what are you going to do? You're going to keep backing up until I'm going to get on my phone. That's not going to help. So pepper spray can keep the person away at least 15 feet away. And pepper gel can stick to them even a little more than pepper spray. And what this does is, if you're wondering if it works, I've used it at work, and of course we know law enforcement uses it in the bigger variety. It makes it hard for them to breathe, and they can't see right away. So that's why you want to carry it and use it, because they're not going to be able to, well, attack you because they can't see you, and they're not going to come forward anymore. And if they do, they're going to need another squirt. We've also used, bear spray. Yes, I've used bear spray in Florida. And of course you can't stick this in your purse or your pocket. So this is good for the golf cart. Are you walking a dog? Are you just plain walking outside? Are you going on a car ride? You know, you can keep it in the car just so you know you have something, along with, you can also use wasp spray, you know, just to think to have something in the car in case somebody approaches you. But this, both of them, can go 25 to 30 feet. So the point is, you don't need the animal getting closer and you don't need the person. So it works on four-legged and two-legged predators. So something to keep in mind. You can get it online or you can get it locally, all of us. Also, what's good to use if anyone needs to carry it, it's easy to use, is it's a personal sonic alarm. They come in a lot of different varieties, but the sound of this can be heard 3 to 4 football fields away. So it's pretty powerful, and if somebody was coming close to you, the sound of it would deter them. So also, when you're using any of these, and if you have to use pepper spray on somebody, you want to call the police. So don't just use it and go home and be happy that you sprayed somebody today. Some people need a good spraying though. I'm not going to say that's not true. But just so the police can know that, hey, there's a problem in the parking lot at such and such, I had to spray this guy. It's not a crime for you to spray somebody, but at least they can go looking for this person. And for traveling, we all travel, but what can we carry with us in the hotel room? You've seen videos and, you know, issues of things happen in the hotel or wherever you're going, the Airbnbs or whatever. Here are little simple devices that you can carry. This is a battery-operated alarm wedge. It's called a door wedge. Battery operated, easy to carry with you, and it takes 600 pounds of pressure to push against this to get in. And plus it's going to sound an alarm. So if you're using this in a hotel, oh, somebody's going to hear it. So it's just a little added protection, whether you put the alarm on or not. It takes a lot to do this. And even if you had to open the door, they still wouldn't be able to get past this. You could open the door a little and see if it was something that you needed to take care of without fully opening the door. And this is the travel one that we're talking about that can go in your door lock at home like that, or while you're traveling. So it fits in, it's easy to carry, but it's like that extra step of peace of mind. I'm staying in this hotel, I'm not really crazy, I don't know, I'm on the first floor, a little something. But of course you're going to use the lock and the safe and all that to keep yourself safe. And also, you know, when you're traveling, not everybody is your friend. Let's remember that. Friendly isn't your friend. So if you don't want to go in the elevator because that guy is making me uncomfortable, you don't have to say, oh, I don't really, you know what, you turn, this is where you use your power. You just turn and leave. You don't need to discuss anything with anyone. You don't need to, oh, their feelings, I'm going to have to leave the elevator. So keep those things in mind. Some of the other tools that we use while we're traveling is the tactical pen. So one of my favorites is made of steel, so it's pretty much indestructible. It has a steel tip for glass breakage, and also for somebody grabs your arm, you're just going to grab it and stab their arm. So somebody grabs you by the arm, keep your pen handy, and you use the steel tip of it. You know, it gives them something to, wow, oh, she's prepared. And why would they continue? You know, if you have one thing, you may have other things.
But FYI, I was traveling, I traveled to airports a lot, and all the big airports, that was no problem. But at Key West, they confiscated it from me. They said it was a dangerous
You know, from time to time, you're going to lose something. So I say, use another one somewhere else in your bag.
I do, I have.
We have had a couple of pens confiscated as well. And what I have found is if I put the pen clip to a notebook, then they don't look for the pen. TSA is well aware of tactical pens, but if you have it hide in plain sight, since I've attached it to a notebook, that way we always have a weapon while we're traveling.
It is a real ballpoint pen, so I've had to show them it is a real ballpoint pen, and it is refillable. Also, one of the other little know-nothing everyday item is a tactical flashlight. Now, you're going to need a flashlight at some point. You know, you're in a hotel room, you're traveling, you're on a plane, what if it goes dark and you need a light? So it's made of steel, tactical flashlight. It's this big, it fits in the palm of your hand, and there you go. It's not a weapon, but guess what? It's an improvised weapon. If somebody grabs you, you have something other than, you know, your fist, which years of fighting people, it hurts. And it's difficult for some people, especially, you know, as you're getting older. So, you know, you need a little something else. And also, it'll let them know this person's prepared. Wow, I'm not going any further. Another one is a tactical umbrella. If you haven't heard of that before, that's something you're going to need when you travel. So the handle comes in different varieties, but the handle is also, there's a round steel handle. So the handle can be used as a weapon. So, you know, there's the umbrella all put together, and if you need it when you're out traveling in a group or you've broken off from a group, at least you have something and you know that if I need to keep somebody away, I have something. Oh, yeah, also, you know, when you're traveling, which people don't think of a lot of times, is, you know, when you have people with you, I'm just going to go out. Let your friends know your itinerary and where you're going. Hey, I'm going down here. Also, you know, when you're on a cruise, let them know where you're going. The ships are getting bigger and things happen. Don't be fooled there either. Things happen on the cruise ship. So let people know where you're going, and when you're leaving the cruise ship, you're going to go on an excursion. One of the things that happens in countries all over is, and I've had it for years, is they want you to come off the beaten path. Happens in New York, happens wherever you go traveling. The point is they want to get you off of the beaten path to sell you something, or bad things happen like robbery. So even though it sounds like a good idea to get that purse, or I can get that cheap clothes, oh ma'am, I can get that made for you. We can do that right here, down in the back. I don't know. Those are things that you stop and say, no, I don't leave the path, I don't leave the area of other people. You do not want to be separated at any time from people that you're with. But again, people make it sound nice. This will just take a minute. So just say to yourself, no, I'm waiting for a friend, no, and stay safe.
So that concludes our presentation. We hope that you take away from this today, again, that we said at the beginning, safety is not about fear. Safety is feeling empowered, about having a strategy, and about having some tips and knowing what to do. Just because we are women does not mean that we have to be victimized or to be unprepared. A little preparation goes a long way. And if you'd like to get our monthly safety updates, we encourage you to sign up. And again, we thank you for your time, your intention, and particularly for being women warriors. Thank you so much.
Questions?
Thank you. Couple questions?
I have two questions. Number one, I've tried to order those gel. I have two questions. Number one, I've tried to order those gel spray things online. They will not send it to me because I live in Florida.
From Amazon, also you can go to Target, has them, Gun Shooters World has them, has a big display of actually the tactical, all the tactical items. So you don't need to talk to them there, you can just go in, get the product and get out.
Bear spray as well?
Yes, bear spray, all the pepper gels, pepper sprays, the tactical umbrellas are there, but you can get this online. Saber, we'll have some on our website. We'll have some links on our website also, you know, if you can look there. But there is an issue with pepper spray being sent to certain states, the states that really need it. So they have to funnel it in from the nearby state, because states like New York and I believe maybe California, one other state.
I promise you, Amazon will not send me pepper spray to 32162.
I just put it in
There you go.
Hold the pepper spray out from side to side, And, be vocal at the same time when you're using your spray or anything. Be loud, ladies. Be loud. Say, get back, don't just spray. Get back, I don't need anything. Be loud. You want other people, the point is, you want other people to step in and help. Whether, it's a guy or another lady going, I would step in if somebody's, what's going on? This guy's bothering me. I would step in, that guy would step in, somebody would do something. Those ladies look, that lady right there looks like she would do it, right? You would step on her. Sure she would. So you want to be loud, you want to get the attention of other people. You don't want to keep it to yourself. What? He wants something? Get away from me, especially at a gas station where they know they have to pay for the gas. They know they have a credit card. So things like that, you don't ever want to open your purse to anyone, because once you think you're only going to give them $1, she got more than that in there. So things like that. And one of the biggest tips for women is use your peripheral vision. Look around, see what's nearby. People come up from the side, look around a lot. You're walking out of here today, look around, turn, use it. All right. She had another one.
The name of that lock, that
Is a hide-a-lock, I believe. Hide-a-lock.
thank you very much.
It's for the portable lock.
And Amazon will send you that.
Yes, you can get the lock, Amazon.
Yeah, hi. My concern is when I moved here about 10 years ago from New York, I'm a retired New York City teacher, taught in the hood, so being street smart is as natural as breathing does. There's crossbody in front.
Right.
I was very concerned, not inferring, but concerned that my favorite letters is Zoomer and Walk Away the Bounds. There's no place to secure your personal belongings in the rec centers. And I went to see the person in charge of the recreation department, and I was told, and I quote, "What value could you have on you that you need to lock it up?" And I said, well, I don't want to say his name, why don't you put your wallet on the table and we'll talk. I thought that was a very inappropriate, unprofessional response, and here it is X amount of years later, and there's still no way to secure your personal belongings, which is one of the reasons I started going to the gym. And just as an aside with that, I don't get a giggle where I'll see some of my sisters take their personal belongings, put it in a locker at the gym, and then not lock it. And then wonder why their things are taking a walk.
I totally agree. I'm going to get to you.
Oh, the other one is leaving your purse in the baby seat in a wagon in the supermarket, and people just walk
Well,
away.
that one, I've seen that a bazillion
Because the
times.
sense I get is there are folks not being judgy who this is a bubble. I think that would never happen here.
It happens all over, right. It happens all over, it's public all over. Talking about the gym. So the gym has, wherever you go, but the gym has the hooks. So when you come in, hook your keys. No, I'm not hooking my keys. So the person I don't know over here goes, Toyota, Mazda, Mercedes. Okay. No. So either, leave it in the trunk, which is better than leaving it out in the open because, you are gonna forget something. But definitely I do not hang anything on a hook.
You're locking it, why don't you use keys or the clipper to get back in?
Right, so keep it with you.
You're right.
Something, but I don't hang anything out in public. This lady had.
I was going to say that I was nearly scammed on the phone, but I actually was accosted at a store nearby the Villages, and that's a whole other story, but I can tell you that one. But anyway, on the phone, I got a call from the number, and he says, this is your Visa company. And so I checked on the card, and it was the same number. Well, my husband, who's a little more tech-oriented, he says, Valerie, they changed the numbers now. So you think you're getting a call from the Visa company, but in fact, it's these scammers. So I did call my Visa, and they said, no, we're not calling.
Wow. Right, exactly. If you heard me, anytime you get a call, I'm going to get to you. What they do now is they can clone these numbers. So the number looks like, oh, it's a 352 number. Your head automatically goes, oh, It's probably, well, it's not. 99% of the time, it's not. So they clone them. So they already know about Visa and all that. They have those numbers. So you go and you look it up. I don't care. If you have the actual card, then use the number on the, hang on. And same thing about your bank. The bank will never, and as many times as you hear this, but what happens is we panic. And panic, unfortunately, takes over your brain in anything. So the bank's calling. Why is the bank calling? So now I can't even hear because I'm thinking, what do I need to do? Well, all we need is, and you get caught up in that. It's a scam. We all know where the bank is if we live here. So A, get in the car and go to the bank, or hang up, there's nothing else to say, and call the bank. Somebody will answer, call the bank. Nothing is wrong, the bank will not call you, you can go online, check your own account. And wait, this lady in the back.
Something happened to me at Christmas, and it probably happens to a lot of people in the villages. I had my front door open for the screen so I could get some fresh air in, and I was back in my sewing room, and then I heard a lady in my house calling my name, and I wasn't expecting anybody, and so I went out to investigate, and there was a woman in the middle of my house, and it just so happened that she was calling. She thought she was in a different house, and it just so happens that my neighbor and I have the same nickname. And so when she was calling for Kay, I thought, like, who should be here? I didn't understand why anybody would be in my house. And then I've had a couple friends who have had people with dementia walk into their homes. And one thing that I would say is that if you are defending your home with a firearm, maybe just mention the stand your ground. You would be at fault if you were to harm somebody in your house with a firearm, because if you have the opportunity to exit or your life is not an imminent threat. And I just worry about that in the villages because the houses all look the same.
No.
And
no. If they were coming in your house, they're breaking into your house, that's your whole point of being able to defend yourself. I don't need to be able to jump out my window. So, but these are things that you just need to think about if you do have a firearm. So that's a whole nother level
but I think that it's a common enough problem in villages that people wander into other people's homes.
That's a problem.
Couple more questions.
It's a problem.
Yes, I have a question. To get through airport security, can you have a pepper spray in your purse for that?
No.
You cannot?
No. And even some airlines only want it in the actual package, not even opened yet.
Okay.
Some don't even want you to carry it at all. You actually have to go on the website, or you can actually buy it probably where you go, but that you actually have to. You'll be yanked off the plane, or they'll take it from you. But definitely nothing in your carry-on. That's already happened on Delta. Somebody brought it in, somehow it accidentally got on in their carry-on. She must have moved it, and it went off. And it's not a pretty smell. Everybody has to get off the plane, and it lingers for quite a while.
Okay, one more question.
This one here. She had one question.
No, I want to show them something
Sure.
that you didn't mention.
Mm.
All right, I'm from New York. I'm from New York, and I used to, besides being an administrator and an educator and in a school that was gang-related, metal detectors, all that, and I ran a nighttime community program. Now, by the time I don't know how old, there isn't a New York woman alive that doesn't walk with their keys out like this, people. You walk with your keys out like this, which you didn't mention, which is a lot easier to scratch or stab. It may not do anything, but you never know. But There's never time at night where I walk with my keys like this.
It's only,
Share that.
the only problem with that is, you know, sometimes all these things sound good, kind of like, should I kick the guy? Okay, that sounds like a great idea too, but it's not gonna work.
Yeah, but it makes
And you know, if this guy stands up, that guy stands up, you know, try this at home, try it on a friend, and see how high you can kick your leg up without falling backwards. It's not a pretty picture, and it's not gonna work. So you can try for the shin instead of actually kicking up. So you can try and you can roll it down the shin, but don't kick your leg up, it's not gonna work for anyone. One more lady right here.
I'm hoping so. This is an unsolicited testimonial.
Speak up, please.
But everything that you've heard today is really tactically oriented, which is super helpful to us. Buy their book. Okay. Because you will get so much more context.
So we're gonna have,
Thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you, everybody.
thank you. So we have a 50-50 and we also have another, I don't know what you call it, raffle or something. But before we do that, can you just stand up if you're new to the club? Okay. So, Joe? And sign Barbie's petition, definitely.
Before people leave.
162-670. 162-670.
One 638. 638.
Pat, do you want to come up?
The winning ticket here is 9044750. So one more time, 9044750. We have a winner. Yay!
Everyone who was supportive of Laura and Joy, I'm going to trust you and thank you.
Yes, then get your books.
Just one other thing, if you're going to lunch today, hopefully, we're gonna have lunch at Belglade, which is really close to here. It's on Moyer Loop, actually. So if you don't know, it's 434 Moyer Loop.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, everyone.